the Green Ginger Club and the second part of our conversation with Peter Donegan. Now, Peter appeared on The Voice in 2019 and performed the song Bless the Broken Road by the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. But the really interesting part came after Sir Tom Jones turned around and asked Peter a question.
What's your name?
My name's Peter Donegan, and I'm 35, and I'm originally from London.
In relation to Lonnie Donegan?
That's my dad.
No, not really.
Lonnie's my dad.
Really? Wow. Wow, what the who? We did shows together, you know, your father and myself.
I know, but you're okay now.
You got your father's sense of humor.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it's great.
Dad was my best friend, so it was, it was always going to rub off.
You know the song that your father wrote for me?
I do indeed.
Come on, let us hear.
Can we do it together?
Yeah.
Actually planned the duet with Tom, or did it just come happen literally?
No, it's exactly as you see it. I mean, the only thing that you miss is obviously where they've edited out afterwards is the break where I've done my introduction song, Bless the Broken Road, Tom's turn, blah, blah, blah. Then I go down and shake everybody's hand. That's lovely. Welcome to Team Tom. And that's when the discussion happened. And then there's, of course, now we stopped filming for a second because, oh, you want to do the song? Okay, great. And I turned to the band, do you know it? And they're like, we know of it, but we can't just do it now. But you know it. Well, I got the piano. You can use the piano. And I'm like, oh, right, okay. Asking Tom what key, all that kind of stuff. So they edit all of that bit out, And then the fact that we actually performed the full song, not not how it appears, because if we did the full 4-minute number, I mean, they'd have to do an extended version of The Voice, it's just so. I've had idiots saying to me before, they go, yeah, but how did you, there's no way that you would have all known when to cut it in and the band came in so soon. I go, no, idiots. We sung 3 choruses, actually. I said, but they edited that. I said, yeah, but then when did you perform this one? That's that. I said, but it's been edited after we did it. But they don't get the process. Song that I did on The Voice, which Dad wrote, the Never Fall in Love Again, has been cursed for me up until that moment. It's just a case of every time I've ever done it, something went wrong. And not just a little bit wrong, hilariously wrong. So Dad had just passed away. I was booked to do a Christmas season as part of these Christmas cabaret shows, which I used to go off and do. And the lady I was working for, she said, I want you to do Never Fall in Love Again as a tribute to you, just as a homage to your dad, because he's just gone. I was like, yeah, okay. And so I went up, and this was in the Northeast again. It was in Stanley at the, was it the Lamp House Theatre or something like that it's called? And it's in the same building as an Asda. So I'm on stage. And, I've been in love so many times, I thought I knew the score. Price check 104, board, price check 104, please. Fall in love. Now I'm never gonna, just to let everybody know, there's a special on Brussels sprouts in aisle 5. There's a special on Brussels sprouts in aisle 5. What's going on? And then their shop manager came running into the theatre, and I could see this kerfuffle going on in the wings. So the radio mics were on the same frequency as ASDA, right? And we were getting their announcements over the top, and of course they were getting just my voice with no backing track blasting across ASDA, just fall. And then we were doing this because we did a musical as a homage to Dad immediately after that one called Lonnie D. And me and my older brother compared it and sung some songs, and we had my dad's band on tour with us, you know. And it was like, we're going to do a couple of tours because Dad's obviously just passed. Everybody wants the music, and let's give it to him. So I did this big spiel about Dad's heart attacks and major heart surgery and the rest of it. Went into Never Fall in Love Again. And my older brother and my younger brother hadn't turned their mic packs off. Of course, they're mics that are on your face. He went into the dressing room, got showed by our younger brother the page 3 models in the Daily Star. Right, and all I can hear is this chewing gum being chewed. You know, I've been in love so many times. Oh yeah, I thought I knew the score. Come to Papa, and I'm going, no. You see the audience going. And the same thing, that same club that I did in Elgin, you know, with the no clapping. There was one lad in the front who was so lovely. He was deaf, he was mute, so he was listening to everything, feeling everything through the vibrations. Big smile on his face. He was loving the whole thing, because I have a couple of deaf friends actually, and they've told me that they love folk music, country music, especially solo artists, because they can actually feel the individual vibrations better and get the feeling from it. You know, I was like, oh right, okay, that makes sense. So this young lad is loving it, and he's smiling away, and he was my one shining light through this gig. And I was like, so everything I was doing was pretty much for him, because he was the only one giving me the feedback. You know, this little old lady walked all the way back from this, because big rectangular room, and nobody sat in the middle except for this one lad, and everybody else is sat like a, you know, squared horseshoe all around the walls, you know. And she walks all the way across the dance floor, right down to his table, smacks him on the back, and then screams at him while I'm on the piano playing, you know. I've been in love so many times. Have you seen your father lately? And I'm going, oh no. It's just me and the piano. There's no band, right? You know. And I'm thinking, for Christ's sake, don't laugh. And this kid now is like looking totally confused at this little old lady that's shouting at him, you know. And then she says it even louder. Have you seen your father lately? And I thought, oh my God, she's going to shit herself. And then maybe she screams at him. And then this other old lady comes right from the back of the room, smacks her on the back, and gives her the whole kind of, you know, well, we kind of hear him because you make it. She goes, what? Oh, hi, sorry. And then it goes back. So when I was on The Voice and they said, oh, hey, do you want to do Never Fall in Love Again? I went, yeah. I was thinking, this, if it goes wrong on TV, either way, it's either going to be wonderful or hilarious and viral. So let's just do it.
The question I was going to ask you, because you played C2C 3 years ago?
2008, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like as an experience? And then that actually got you the audition for The Voice, didn't it?
It was good. I mean, we were doing 5 gigs in a day because we were, you know, it's unpaid. You know, it was one of those exposure gigs. You're at the pop-up stages. It's the first time I've ever sold out a Chinese restaurant. Because it's in the O2 Arena.
Yeah, no, I was there.
At Canary Wharf, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, you've got the Chinese restaurant. You've got the random acoustic stage, which is just set up outside an unused bar, you know, down the corridors, and then there's the opening stage, which is really cold if you do that in the morning. And yeah, for 3 days, you know, we did that. And it was good. I mean, and it's really, because you're in a bubble, because everybody's bought tickets for the 3 days. So, you know, you do the opening stage on the first day. This is what we did, you know. And then we went off and did an acoustic set. And then I got taken off to go and do one of Bob Harris's things as well. And then the next day you come back, and then we're doing the Chinese restaurant one. And now it's packed because people have seen you on the first one that liked you, and they've deliberately come to see you again. It's like, oh, this is nice. And it's actually very reassuring and confidence building, I found, because it means that, okay, so what I'm doing is right. People are liking it, because you can see the immediate reaction of, okay, there was a few people outside the first one, you made an impact, that's good. And they all went, Peter Donegan, where's he coming on next? He's going to be in that one at 5:00 tomorrow. We're going to go see him because the actors on the main stage were kind of about, So that was nice to see that.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah. And lots of artists have said that. Was it 2 years ago? I first saw Ashley McBryde in one of the small stages, and it was pleasantly full, but not full. The second, third performance she did were rammed. You couldn't get in. And it's that exactly, you play once, people see it and think, Christ, this guy's good. And it gets whispered around and just people turn up. Brilliant.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I like Ashley McBryde anyway. And I mean, she's been around for a while. I mean, since late 90s, I think. That kind of things where she was having some big hits, And I've always liked her, actually. So to see she was doing one of the smaller stages is kind of...
She's very good in an intimate room. I've seen her in big gigs and little things.
Yeah, well, she's experienced enough now. I mean, because people ask me a lot of the time, what do you prefer doing? Do you prefer doing a festival? Do you prefer doing a theatre? Do you prefer doing, the small clubs? The answer to all is yes. Because I like them all. I like a festival because you go out, and a festival crowd don't really care who you are, just so long as, do they like what they're hearing? And if they do, they're with you. So as long as you're doing your job properly, you can have a great time at a festival and make some new fans, and there's a great vibe at a festival. Theatres and then again with the smaller venues, like Half Moon, Putney, Eel Pie Club, Cavern Club, all of which I'll be doing this year. I love the intimacy and that vibe, because the kind of people that come to those, the Cavern Clubs and the Half Moon and the Eel Pie, they're musician aficionados and lovers, and they're very dedicated supporters in that kind of a thing, and they listen to the intricacies of the song, the lyrics and everything. So there's a big appreciation. And even when I do get, as I always get, people saying, "Oh, can you do some, do put on the style, randomly, But at places like those, they're never asking for My Old Man's a Dustman. They want Rock On Online. They want Seven Golden Daffodils. They want, I Want to Go Home. They want a lot more of what Dad was actually about, because that's, that's what they've actually taken the time, if they didn't know about Dad, learned through me to go back.
Have you ever had the experience where someone says, you say, my dad was Lonnie Donegan, and they say who?
I do get introduced sometimes to people, and they're like, oh, and this is Lonnie Donegan's son, and they go, right, and I'm sorry, I don't know who your dad was, and I go, don't worry about it. I wasn't going to give myself that introduction, but and then I explain to them, and they go, well, if you've ever heard this song or this song, and they go, oh, Dustman, yeah, I know that one, yeah. I said, well, that was Dad. And they go, okay, cool.
I was just wondering, at what stage did you realise that your dad was an extremely famous man, influenced the Beatles and all of that?
Roughly as he was coming out, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's never really hit me that much, because he's my dad, you see, and I always look at him as just my dad. Well, not just.
Just.
But he is my dad, so... When I see him on stage, I mean, I think, bloody hell, he's fantastic. And thank God he's my dad,
You never told me that before.
Well, I mean,
We have to get him on the TV, right?
Wasted stream, seven wonders. Earth traps always tell some gods, some towers. Guess you know the world. Our greatest wonder is in Hometown's Fairland. It's big lucky roads and the big grand coulee.
I was actually going to ask you, Peter, about Crystal Gale. You opened for Crystal Gale, and I think that was quite an important experience for you.
It was an awesome experience. A lovely, lovely experience. What a lovely human being. um, and because at that point in time I wasn't doing the country stuff as much because I'd been pushed down the tribute side of things really, and that gave me more of an impetus to go out and do it. And I was, being surrounded by it again just made me, reaffirm how much I loved it all, and I was listening to her. I mean, number one, she was very sweet. The band was just so brilliant, and her sister, was it Peggy Sue, was wandering around just telling dirty jokes all the time, which was hilarious. And I had such a whale of a time on that tour. And I was like, okay, I need to change up and do some other stuff here. I do what I want to do, and I made a conscious decision at that point in time. And it was, there's nothing really to say other than it was just fantastic. They were supportive. And there was a great song, which is, oh, damn it. I haven't had anything to eat yet, so I think my brain's underpowered. Rocky Top's the song, Rocky Top, you'll always be home, sweet home to me. So they had me come on and play the banjo with them for that tune. I was like, oh, that's cool, So it was just I felt very much included, and I was like, yeah, this feels like home. This is, and I think Crystal was probably a big part of me making a very big conscious decision to go, yes, I'm focusing the whole thing on country and Americana.
And you actually made the stage of the Grand Ole Opry, but did you play?
No. that is the goal. That is the goal. I've been there and I've sat on it, but I would like to very much get there and actually perform on that stage. Sacred ground, it's a lovely place as well, and just so, I don't know, just very casual, backstage. Everybody's just chatting around, and nobody's. I mean, I was there, and there was a few. Charlie Daniels was there, and Roseanne Cash, and people like that when I was visiting, and it was just nobody was anybody, if you know what I mean. And at that point in time, I was recording the Superman EP there in Nashville. And I said this to the guys in the studio, and they said, yeah, when you're in country music, you realize everybody has less of a inflated vision of themselves, and everybody's very approachable. It's like, so if you go and you meet Brad Paisley, who's, this mammoth artist in the country industry, or Chris Stapleton, and you can walk up and say hi, and it's not unwelcome, and it's very much everybody is very approachable.
Is that because you think all the country, I mean, there's such a lot of competition and everybody's so good that you're really walking on eggshells every time you meet somebody, because you think, heck, who's this going to be like,
Well, yeah, and I think it's also a way of life, as in the fact that, when you come up and you are in Nashville, you realize how good everybody is. You might have made it, but it doesn't mean you're the best. So the next person that's around you, they could be a lot better than you. You just had maybe a better opportunity, and you got to be nice to everybody because it's good as a human being, but also, your day has come, but then it will pass, and you're going to meet all these same people again on your way back down. And it's nice to revisit old buddies rather than old enemies, and it always pays to be good, and always be at least a respectable person,
Yeah. It has to be said, Peter, that Louis is vaguely anti-Nashville, and he wrote a song about it, which we have played.
I mean, anti-Nashville is not fair. I think it's a machine.
It is.
And sometimes, I mean, the trouble is, I've met so many people from here, from Atlanta or from Austin, and LA, and they all have the reason why they live there is because they didn't make it to Nashville, and they feel that there's this group of people who don't really understand what you're talking about. I mean, you're a musician through and through, but a suit is a suit. and he's thinking about money, and he's thinking, how Donegan, got it. It's the name recognition. That's what we're going to go for. He's never said to you, by the way, got a good song.
Right. No, and you're totally right. But the record industry in any genre is like that. And it's focused in certain places, and Nashville is a machine. You're quite right. That is the focal point, and you listen to Willie, because he was there, and he'd not made much money, but he'd written hit songs, like Crazy and stuff like that, which were not his songs, and that's when he decided, when, his house burnt down and stuff like that, well, screw it, I'm going back to Texas, and I'm going to do what I do, where I like to do it, and that's when he became, the big artist that is Willie Nelson, because he stayed true to himself and decided, I'm not going to get caught up in this, this machine, this high pressure thing. And I listen to that, and I think the same way, and I'm not getting into it, but I appreciate Nashville, like I just said, and the people that have come through it, and they do. Maybe it's because they've come through that and they know how hard it is. Maybe that they are a bit more humble because of it.
So before I hit the road, let's lift our heads up and tilt our hats. Thank you, Texas. Austin, 9 p.m., 5 hours to go. Headlights dancing down the blackened road. I was held by the southern wind and a blanket of stars. Lovers bound, Wail on a Willie on the radio. Yeah, I'm strumming along and I'm raring to go. Oh, that's one hell of a band. Thank you, Texas, for bringing me home. Hearts are blessed here, ready to roll. So before I hit the road, let's lift our heads up and tilt our hats. Thank you, Texas. You're larger than life and I don't know why. Yeah, that painted sunset that fills the sky. I can't believe my eyes. Thank you, Texas, bringing me home. Hearts are blessed here, ready to roll. So before I hit the road, lift our heads up into our hands. Thank you, Texas. Thank you, Texas, bringing me home. Hearts are blessed here, ready to roll. So before I hit the road, let's lift our heads up and tilt our hats. Thank you, Texas, bringing me home. Yeah, hearts are blessed here, ready to roll. So before I hit the road, lift our heads up and tilt our hats. Thank you, Texas. I'm home.